For my entire photography career, my goal was always to charge the most amount of money for the least amount of work. And as a wedding photographer, my weddings got bigger and bigger and bigger, and so did my prices. And it was great, but the problem with wedding photography is you can't book very many weddings. In many cases, you could only shoot, 2, maximum maybe 3 a week. And in many cases, you're booking them a year and a half, 2 years in advance. And you're also dealing with huge dry spells, sometimes not shooting an event for months at a time. And I've always been fascinated with photographers who took the opposite approach. Instead of trying to shoot just a few jobs for large sums of money, they tried to shoot as many jobs as possible, as quickly as possible. And I always used to think in the past that they weren't making very much money because they weren't charging very much per job. But I have recently come across a few different types of photographers who don't charge much, but when you actually do the math, they are absolutely killing it. Now, the first type of photographer I wanna mention who absolutely kills it, and this is an underground industry. They don't like talking about this industry at all. This is like a completely hidden thing because they don't want any competition at all. School portrait photographers. I know this is like the lamest genre of photography imaginable. I just assume how much money can they possibly make? The school's not paying them any money. They're having to print out all the pictures, send them with the kids to school, and then get them back and destroy them when they're not paid for. How much money could you possibly make? Well, you can make tons of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars a year, taking portraits of kids and teachers at school for the yearbook and stuff. I had no idea about this, and I may do a video, we may even do a tutorial about this later in the future, but again, this is a very secretive group of photographers because the ones who have figured it out and the ones who have deals with all the local schools and everything, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to share any secrets. They don't want any competition at all because they basically have this gold mine that's just printing money every single year, and it's the easiest conveyor belt type of job imaginable. Let's forget about that genre of photography for a second because that is quite complicated. There's tons of organization and a lot of work and a lot of capital upfront to actually photograph an entire school. But there are a couple of other types of photography that I have become very interested in. One of them being this run and gun style of photographer that you see on location at different touristy spots. For example, you guys probably know the naked cowboy in Times Square in New York City. This guy is out there in Times Square, rain or shine, snow, it doesn't matter. This guy's naked with a guitar in Times Square all day, every day. Why in the world would he do that? Is he crazy? Yes, he is probably crazy, but he's also absolutely cleaning up. If you could say, for example, he's getting $5 in tips for every photograph that he takes of somebody, but he can take a photograph every 10 to 30 seconds, he's making another $5. This guy is making so much money to do nothing, just to look like a crazy person in the middle of a city. And the reason why I bring him up is because I have recently seen photographers doing something similar. They usually position themselves at some sort of landmark with a bunch of tourists. They offer free photography or maybe photography for a relatively low fee, and then they accept tips. And I was recently in Tokyo and I saw this photographer taking photographs of people in front of this tower, and he had the ultimate system. He would take a photograph, it would transfer over to his cell phone, and then he would just email the photo to the client right there on the spot. And I saw people just pulling out $20 bills every 2 minutes, 3 minutes, this guy's making another $20 to take these photographs. I think every modern camera these days will connect to a smartphone or an iPad. Look, this is what I use to control my camera right over there. I've got my A7S III connected to my iPad. I can change all the settings. I can start and stop recording. It works perfectly, and basically this allows you to transfer files over to your phone. With the apps these days, you could do editing. I mean, if you wanted to do edits, you could do it right there on your phone, and then you can either send it directly to the person you're photographing through email or, in many cases, AirDrop if you both have iPhones, Or you could upload them to an online gallery, which gives you even more options for upselling. You could sell not only the digital files, but you could also sell prints and stuff like that. Now, in a second, I'm going to show you how to create one of these online galleries because I've seen two other types of photographers using these galleries like live on location to sell, I guess, prints and digital files as well. One of them was in New York City, and this guy took things to the next level. He would take your picture, and then I think he would either hand the customer like his phone or an iPad or something, and they would type in their email, and then it would instantly email them a link to a gallery online. And there it gave people the option not only to buy the digital file, but also buy prints as well. And that leads me to the third type of photographer that I've recently started to take interest in, and that is newborn photography, but not newborn photography that takes place in a studio or the customer's home. Newborn photography that actually takes place in the hospital. Now, I had my son about 1.5 years ago. I'm a professional photographer. I actually had my professional camera in the hospital with me, but I did not feel comfortable taking photographs of a newborn baby. I was so freaking tired. It was the absolute last thing on my mind. And all of a sudden, like there's a knock on the door and it's this photographer. And I was like, how did you get in here? What's going on? And she's like, hey, can I take a photograph of your baby? And I'm just like, sure. You know, I was kind of in a bad mood, but I'm like, yeah, whatever. Watching her work with my newborn son, like she was so good at what she was doing. She didn't have any lights at all. She was just doing everything near the window. The photographs by no means were like incredible photographs, but they were so valuable to us as new parents. She took the photographs, she grabbed my email from me, she just plugged it in on her phone, I think, and then like an hour later, I got an email that, hey, your photos are available online. Of course, I chose just to buy the digital files themselves, but I think I spent $170 for photographs that took approximately 10 minutes to take. So let's say she could do 3 an hour. What is 3 times 170? $510 an hour. I absolutely know of newborn photographers that are making $500 or $1,000 an hour, but they're doing it from their studio and they're having to go out and find these clients. They're having to market. They're having to book things weeks or months in advance. They're having to deal with no-shows. They're having to deal with unhappy clients. They're having to deal with the babies coming in and being unhappy and then leaving and not getting paid at all. They're having to deal with the overhead of having a studio. But this girl just showed up to the hospital and just went door to door for newborn babies that were just popping out every single day. And it just seemed like she was printing money. Everyone always says that the hardest part about running a photography business is actually booking the jobs. It's not actually taking the photographs, it's finding the clients and convincing them to part with their money. But there are photographers out there who have kind of figured out a way around that. They're not making thousands of dollars per hour like some other types of photographers, but they are able to just kind of like get out and make hundreds or thousands of dollars in a day without any pre-planning or marketing or anything. And the other great thing is there's absolutely no pressure. When you're taking pictures for free and asking people to purchase them only if they like them after the fact, who cares if they don't turn out perfectly? Now, maybe your brain's working a little bit like mine and you're like, maybe there is some sort of photography side hustle I could be doing on my off days. You could easily connect your camera to your phone and send files to clients directly that way. But if you want to create an online gallery, that is where Saal-Digital comes in. This section of this video is sponsored by Saal-Digital, but what's cool about their online gallery is it is 100% for free. So if you want to use their gallery just to sell digital files, they're not going to make any money whatsoever. You can charge whatever you want and you will make 100% of the profit, which is pretty crazy. But I would highly suggest you also offer the option to sell prints and canvases and metal prints and all these different things that Saal-Digital will print for the customer, and you can mark them up as much as you want. Let me show you how you can quickly sign up and create a gallery right now for free. Okay, I just made an account from scratch. The first question that it's asking is, do I want to manually release orders? So basically, if a customer orders a print, do I want to see it before it actually goes to print, or do I want the process to be automated? You know me, I'm lazy. I want the entire thing to be automated, so I'm going to deactivate this. Next question is about in-store processing. Do I want the prints to go directly to the customer, or do I want them to come to me? If you had a photo studio and you want your clients to come in and meet with you and you can wine and dine them and everything, do that. You know me, I don't want to deal with the client, so I'm going to deactivate this as well. Next up, price list. Let's go to add. Now you're able to create as many different price lists as you want. So for example, if you were shooting really high-end weddings, you would probably be able to charge more for prints or more for the digital images than you would if you were a family photographer or a newborn photographer or a pet photographer. There's different levels of clientele and each one is willing to pay a little bit more or a little bit less. So it's up to you if you want to create multiple price lists or not. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to make one price list and I'm going to call this default. And then when we come down here, we can choose the different types of products that we want to offer our clients. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, I'll just offer everything, what's the harm? That's true, you could go that route, but you could also argue that by offering your clients too many choices, you might overwhelm them and they may not order anything at all. So this is where you really need to put in some thought and some effort. Don't offer 1,000 different products, simplify things, make the decision very easy for your client. Now, once you've figured out all of the products that you want to offer, you can add a markup to each one, and there's a few different ways that you can do it. You could just add money under the surcharge here, and the type would be absolute, or I think it might be a little bit easier if you just went to percentage, and then you could add like 200% to the cost of whatever size print your customers are going to buy. Now, if you go all the way to the bottom here, you'll see File Download Settings, and this is where you can give your customers the option to buy the digital copy of the photograph. Now, there are 3 options here, small, medium, and full resolution. Do you want to offer your clients those options? For me personally, I think it gets a little bit confusing. I think the average person doesn't really understand resolution. They may not know what they need or they want. They may purchase a low resolution file and then try to print it themselves. It's gonna look really bad. So for me personally, I think it's better just to offer people the full resolution file. So that's the only one that I'm going to activate. And of course, digital files don't cost anything to deliver, so there's not going to be a percentage option here. We just have absolute, and you have to decide how much do you want to charge per image. Now, for the sake of this video and the type of photography that I've been talking about, like running and gunning, hustling, trying to find somebody and take their photograph in under a minute or two, how much is that type of client willing to pay for a digital photograph? I'm gonna guess it's somewhere between like $20 and $50. Let's just put in 30 bucks for the sake of this video. Once you've set it up, you can click on galleries on the left side, add a new gallery. Here we have the option for title. I'm just going to write test, description. You could write whatever you want. Photography type. This is where you could choose what genre of photography you're shooting. I'm just going to click baby photography because those are the photographs I'm going to upload to this gallery. And right here, I can click add images. And we can drag photos directly to this webpage here, or we can click add images from my device. And I'm just gonna grab a few images of my son Nolan. Let's pretend that we had taken these for a client outside on location. We can upload these to the website. Now on the right side here, we're going to see gallery settings. This is where you can add things like a watermark, which is very important. If you're gonna be trying to sell digital images online, you absolutely need to have a watermark or people are just gonna download the low resolution image. They don't even know the difference between low res and high res. So make sure you add a watermark, and it gives you the option of either adding a watermark as just text and you don't have to upload anything at all, or if you want to make things a little bit more professional, you can go into the settings, upload your company's logo, and that will be placed on top of the images. Sliding down on settings here, we have a display mode for both a computer and a smartphone, which is awesome. So depending on the way you want your images to be displayed, you can set that right here. Click on sales settings and you can turn on the ability to actually purchase these products. You can choose which price list. I'm going to choose the one we just created. I named default. And there's one really interesting option down here at the very bottom. You can allow your customers to edit and crop the images themselves, or you can turn that option off. For me personally, as you guys know, I want to be as hands-off as possible. So for me, I would always allow this because I don't want them calling me saying, hey, can I have this in black and white? Or hey, can you crop this thing out on the right or whatever? If they can do it themselves and I don't have to deal with it. I have a happier customer and I don't actually have to do any more work. That's perfect. Under Share Gallery, we can choose if we want this to be active or not, and who do we want to be able to see this? Do we want it to be password protected or anyone with the link can see it? For me, in my type of photography, I don't need it to be password protected, so I can just have a share link and I can copy this and text it or email it to clients. Now, one thing I want to mention, I have met event photographers who do an amazing job of capturing emails at the events they're photographing. They either do photo booths or they have some sort of sign that says, hey, if you give me your email address, or you type in your email address on this computer or this iPad right here, I will send you the photos after the event. People sign up, they're excited to see it. You can save their email address, blast emails monthly or yearly to these people who trust you now because they were at an event that their friend hired you for, but they will also buy prints and they will buy digital files as well. And you can upload all of these emails as contacts to Saal-Digital. So you can click right here and you can see add new contact. All right, I've added a few more images to this gallery and I wanna show you over here, you want your main image to be a wide shot and I'll show you why. We need to click edit here and we'll crop this like that because there's gonna be a banner at the top of each one of your galleries. So here we can see what the actual gallery looks like here. There's my dad and my son. So this is what your customers are going to see. And let's say they click on an image and they want to buy it. There's a big buy now button right here. And then there are options, wall decor, prints, and downloads. And let's just say they want to download it, 30 bucks right there. They click it and boom, it gives you the option to put in all of your information and a credit card and buy it just like that. So here's how it looks on the iPhone here. Looks great. And if you wanted to buy it, same thing, click it, buy now, very easy. And I am now curious, can I upload galleries from my phone to continue my hustler's photography business? Oh, it looks like I can. Let's click on my device. Hey, look at this. Okay, yeah, so it does work. You can take pictures, send them to your phone, upload them to Saal-Digital, immediately give people the link to their files. They have the option to buy prints. They have the option to download the full resolution image. And it can literally all be done from a cell phone. So that's it, guys. A few easy ways to take pictures and immediately get them online and into your client's hands so that you can make money as quickly and as easily as possible. I'm so curious how much money you could make doing something like this as quickly as possible. I've seen it done before. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know people are making a good living doing this sort of thing. Well, thank you for watching, guys. And if you're looking to take your photography business to the next level, definitely check out fstoppers.com/store. No matter what type of photography you're interested in, whether it's like landscapes or portraits or weddings or kids or anything, we have tutorials that we've done with photographers doing it at the absolute top of their game. These are very detailed, long tutorials made with professionals in mind. At the very least, check them out at fstoppers.com/store. See you soon.